Hello and welcome, and thank you for joining us today. We have another star guest. This is Katie, so let's give her a warm welcome. Welcome, Katie. Thank you for joining us.
That's okay. Thank you for having me.
Not a problem. So let's get on, and we will begin with where you're based, how old you are, and just a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. So originally I'm from Wales, but now I live in London. I'm 21 and I'm an upcoming dancer, hopefully.
Oh, brilliant. What kind of dance do you do?
Mainly contemporary dance, but a bit of everything, to be honest. Yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant. Well done, you. So what brought you down to London then from Wales?
To actually train, so go to university. And so I've recently, well, back in July, finished my degree, and now I'm waiting for the theatres to open so I can actually hopefully pursue my dream.
God bless you. Oh, well, I wish you all the luck with that. Sounds amazing. So let's get on and talk about our your vegan journey. So when was it that you turned vegan, and what was it that inspired you to transition?
So actually my sister was vegan before me. She's older, and so she went vegetarian and then vegan. And then, so this was back in like 2017. So I would see her cook like vegan meals a lot, and she would kind of tell me little things like here and there about veganism. And I'd say I'm quite like open-minded, so I'll always like listen and take on what she's saying. And then it was a point where she showed me a video of a guy giving a lecture to university. I cannot remember what the video is, but basically he was just explaining about veganism, basically how it made sense, like why we should be vegan. And so I watched it, and I think it was just like a click moment for me. And I was just kind of like, do you know what? Yeah, like that actually kind of, it makes sense. And so I kind of like took that information. I was like, okay, right. And then the next day came, and I was like, do you know what? I don't fancy eating meat because of what I watched yesterday. So I was like, okay, I'll try something like eggs. I think it was like scrambled eggs. And I was just sat there kind of eating it, and it was kind of actually making me feel sick because of the information that I was like given from that lecture. Yeah, so I kind of just sat there and I was like, you know, I actually can't eat this anymore, because I knew exactly where it was coming from and how it was like got onto my plate basically, and I just didn't like that. I didn't feel comfortable anymore. And like a few days after, I would try and eat like different meats and like milk and stuff, but every time like I was doing it, because I knew where it was coming from, like it just really put me off. So I had like a long chat with my sister about it, and she was basically like, I completely understand. And so I guess it was from that point where I was like, okay, like I want to go vegan. So mine was quite interesting. I never went vegetarian and then vegan, which I feel like most people do. I kind of went straight vegan down to the fact that I couldn't eat eggs and milk because it made me feel a certain way after knowing where it came from.
I'm impressed.
Yeah, so that's kind of how it happened.
Oh, sounds like an awesome story. So was it 2017 that you watched this documentary as well?
It was, I think I watched that video right at the end of 2017, and I literally turned vegan the 1st of January 2018.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So that's awesome, easy to remember when your vegan anniversary is.
Yeah, literally.
Brilliant. So when you did turn vegan, were there things that you struggled giving up or things that you missed? I know you mentioned that you were kind of put off, but were there things that you were like, oh, maybe I should have this, you know, to get it out of my system, or things that you really wish could be veganized?
I think I think for a lot of vegans, the cheese. I think products that kind of wasn't like pure like milk and stuff, like, but kind of like had traces of it in it, like chocolate, if that makes sense, like those sort of things. I was kind of like, oh, I wish that there was like a really nice alternative for that, but there is. I just wasn't aware because obviously it's a very new vegan. But yeah, kind of those things and kind of cheese. But now I love vegan cheese. I found the one that I love. So yeah.
So which is your favourite vegan cheese then?
It's, I can't remember what it's called, but it's the one that always begins with a V. Do you know what I'm talking
Is
about?
it Violife?
Yes, that one.
Right.
I recently found, like, to go in my burgers is like a smoked cheese that they do. Oh, it's amazing. I love it.
Oh, I didn't even know they did a smoked one. That's interesting. I
Yeah,
suppose in London
Morrison.
you've got quite a lot of choices, like as in comparison to places that, you know, might be in the middle of nowhere. So that's great that you're in London. So it's been probably quite easy for you to transition, I would imagine. Am I right?
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, I would agree.
So do you have like, because I know that London has stores, like specific stores you can find in London which are like completely vegan. Do you have any of those near you?
Not near me, because I would say I'm more like on the outskirts of London.
Right.
But I do go into Hackney quite a lot. So Hackney definitely has a lot of vegan like stores
Okay.
everywhere.
Oh,
So go to Hackney if you're looking for vegan stores.
right, well, I'll do that. I haven't been to Hackney. So yeah, I've only been to, my friend lives in Greenwich, so I've been to the Greenwich market, and we found a fudge store, and all of it is vegan, like, and you can watch them make it. It's really cool.
Oh wow.
So yeah, I haven't explored that much of London, so but that's very good to know. So thank you for sharing that. So on your vegan journey, what is it about veganism that you feel has impacted your life the most?
Good question. I have to think about that. Honestly, I just feel like it makes me feel good about myself, in the sense that I feel like I'm really doing the right thing. And I feel like I'm doing my part. And also, even like internally, like I feel like great. Like when I started it, it was hard because I did a massive transition from my recent diet, and I literally just went straight vegan. So it was a very dramatic difference. And also doing full-time training on the side of that made it a bit like weird. My body was kind of like freaking out a bit because it wasn't used to it, because I did such a dramatic change.
Yeah.
But after I did that change and was like vegan for like month, 2 months, like my body felt so much better. I felt so much healthier inside, like more clean. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that makes complete sense. So when you know, you're a dancer, so before you started your vegan journey, were you dancing before then, or is it something that's happened during your vegan journey?
Yeah, I've been dancing since I was like 7. So like it's funny because I was the classic, like I would have the steaks with the broccoli and like all that, like the chicken with the rice. I was very much trying to get like my protein that way. But honestly, like the alternative meats, the vegan ones, just it's the exact same, and most of the time even more protein you get from them. They say like a lot of bodybuilders actually eat, I know corn is more vegetarian, but some of them are vegan, but the bodybuilders like eat more of the corn stuff because it actually has more protein in it than like the steaks or the chicken and stuff. So it's it's very interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. I didn't know that. I know that, you know, things like beans and, you know, whole foods, they often have a lot more protein in than everyone seems to think them. But I didn't know that about meat substitutes. So yeah, thanks for enlightening us about that. So in terms of, because you're quite physical, obviously, being a dancer, would you say that it's made a difference to your like energy and your abilities to dance being vegan?
Yeah, I definitely say so. I feel like once I made that transition and when my body stopped freaking out because of the change, I definitely felt more energized and just felt ready, like more awake in the mornings and ready to like seize the day sort of thing. Yeah, 100%.
Oh, that's really brilliant. So when you mention like your body freaking out, what exactly do you mean by that? Like, what were your symptoms, if you don't mind sharing?
I mean, it was such a dramatic change because, as I said, I went from like eating steaks and stuff to like having the meat substitutes. And obviously being a new vegan as well, like it is a learning process yourself. So you have to learn how to get the right nutrients. And I feel like at the beginning, I wasn't very good at that because obviously I was new. I needed to learn about like different meals and stuff that had all that in. So it was that transition really that made my body freak out because I wasn't getting all the nutrients I needed because I wasn't very educated about it, if that makes sense.
Right, yeah, that makes sense. Thank you. So based on vegan food, like I'm a massive foodie, what is something that you love to eat as a vegan? What's your go-to vegan food?
It changes all the time, but at the moment, a vegan chili con carne. I love it.
That sounds lovely. What was it last?
I think it was like a cheeseburger.
Oh,
Like a
nice.
Beyond cheeseburger.
Brilliant. Have you ever been involved in vegan activism at all?
I guess my YouTube channel, because I mentioned like a lot of like veganism on there, and I will be, so kind of that, yeah.
Awesome. So what's your YouTube channel? Tell us a bit more about
that. So basically I decided to make a YouTube channel because I'm like a contemporary dancer, and when I was like auditioning and stuff for like companies, there wasn't a lot of contemporary dancers doing YouTube. In fact, I couldn't really find anyone that was a professional contemporary dancer, like transition from university into the industry. And so I thought, do you know what? I'll just be that person then and help other contemporary dancers how realistically how it's actually done, because no one's really like showed the process. I feel like when you ask a lot of like artists, they'll always just say about the pros that's happened in their career and never really show the journey. And so being fresh out of uni, I really wanted to show like the full journey of what it's actually like making it, hopefully making it as an artist. And along the way, just like showing just fun videos and my vegan life as well, like obviously being a vegan dancer, how I do it, and yeah, just to share my story sort of thing.
that. Sounds really amazing. Inspired. I love that. Like I'm quite surprised too that you know you wouldn't be able to find contemporary dancing, because yeah, you would have just thought that they'd have, you know, YouTube has everything. So
yeah,
it's quite surprising to hear that there's something that was not on the market. So good
yeah.
for you for putting yourself out there.
Yeah, thank you. I have like found like contemporary dancers that are still in university, but it's the professional dancers that's actually graduated and actually gone into the industry that you don't really see. Like they have all the commercial dancers and like the tap dancers, musical theatre, all of them, but the contemporary dancers is just, I don't know what it is, just no one's done it yet. So
well, they have now, haven't they?
Yes, here I am.
With a twist as well. I love that you're doing the journey. I think that's so important, you know, because I know when you're starting out, dance obviously is, you know, it's not an easy career path, and I can imagine that you're going to inspire a lot of people by just showing it raw, you know. It's because it's not all about the end results and the performances. There's so much more to it than that. So yeah, I really admire what you're doing, and I'm definitely going to check it out. So what's your YouTube channel called?
It's literally just my name, Katie Whitcomb. So,
okay, yeah. Brilliant. I'll add a little link to that then.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. So our final question is, what is one piece of advice that you would give to somebody who wants to be a vegan? It's not quite there
yet. Honestly, if you want to be vegan, I would just say just go for it. Just try it, because you have to start somewhere. So even if you just went vegan like one day a week, it still matters. You're making a difference. So yeah, I'd just say just start the journey.
Amazing. Some very good advice. I totally agree with you there. I actually myself, like when I was into veganism, I was vegetarian first since I was like 11. I did the whole 1 day a week because I struggle like with, you know, motivating myself to cook a lot. It's a struggle. It's something that I struggle with quite a lot. So yeah, for me, that was my steps. And when I made that decision, after I think I only did it, I did 1 day a week for about a month. And then I was like, right, I'm ready to take the jump now. I don't care anymore. So yeah, it's really good to hear other people, you know, being on board with you. Take small steps because it does matter. You know, obviously we want the world to be vegan, but just taking tiny little steps, it all mounts to something in the end, because we're creatures of patterns and habits. So taking that small step, it will lead you to the right, it leads you into the right direction. So yeah, that's some really good advice. So thank you for that, Katie. So for a little plug, in case anybody else wants to get in contact with you, or any other, if you have any other social media links or websites, excuse me, yeah, how can people get hold of you other than your YouTube channel?
I'm not a very big social media person, so the only places I kind of do is the YouTube and probably Instagram. So my Instagram is Katie_Whitcomb and 22 at the end.
Fabulous. Okay, I shall add that in the comments as well. Well, thank you so much for sharing your journey with us, Katie, and it's been really lovely to meet you and to talk to you.
Yes, it's lovely to meet you too, and thank you for having me on your channel.
You're very welcome. So guys, if you would like to be our next star vegan, please contact me. I'm Luna Bluma. I can't even say my name right. I'll leave a link in the comments so you can find me. You can email me too, or join up to our Vegan Bloomers community if you haven't yet already. So thank you again for watching, and I shall see you on the next one. Bye bye. Much love.